Hey everyone, it's Mike from Rogala Photography here. Today I want to show you a very popular look in film and movies and stuff, especially back when they were doing actual real film and not digital. It is the Kodak 2383 print film. And basically, Kodak 2383 print film is a vision color print film commonly used in Hollywood. It's not a negative film, but rather the film that movies are printed onto for theatrical projection. It gives movies a rich contrast, deep shadows, and a very subtle color shift. It also has a very distinct cinematic glow. This film became popular for its very punchy highlights, crushed blacks, and muted greens and yellows. It was actually called the Hollywood look. Some famous movies that use Kodak 2383 are The Dark Knight in 2008, Inception 2010, Interstellar 2014, Skyfall 2012, and Dunkirk 2027. Actually, director Christopher Nolan is very well known for using Kodak 2383 in his films. So over here, I have a couple presets that I made, and we're just going to do the one, but I did three different ones here. I have one for landscape, one is just a generic, and then there's a portrait. So the generic one kind of looks like this. You can see here I have a raw image, unedited, except for cleaning up a few spots and straightening the horizon. But when I come up over here and I look, it kind of changes the tone, gives it a warmer tone. You can definitely see the contrast. And you can see the original film, the white balance had more of a greenish look to it. And you can see it kind of changed it to more of a magenta. But now if I come up to landscape, it darkened it up a little bit. Generally, because when you're doing landscape photos, you're going to be in, brighter settings. Again, you're not going to use this in a photo that's really dark. Okay. So, you want to make sure you're using this with certain types of photos. Same thing with film, because it really does darken your photo up. And then if you look at the portrait here, it has a much lighter effect for portraits because, again, it all depends on the portrait, but you may not want to have that darker look with it. So it's going to change depending on your photo. But I'm going to show you how to make this, and you can make the preset, and then you can actually tweak it to help you out for your particular photo. So first off, we're going to start in the basic panel. And I want to adjust the exposure first, usually to taste. For me, I want to brighten this up because, like I said, it is going to darken it because we're going to make it very contrasty. So I do want to make it maybe a little bit overly exposed. Like I would normally not go this exposed for this particular photo. Contrast, I'm going to up that. Let me see. Let me try 20. Actually, we could probably go to 30. Again, we can always come back and change this. I'm going to actually type it in. We're going to put 30. And you can see already the difference in the photo. And you can see where I deleted that one item blanket or whatever it was over there. Highlights, we're going to bring them down. Again, 20 there. Just because, again, we want to make this punchy. Shadows, we're going to bring them down as well to kind of make them pop. Let's go down. Let's see. We're going to bring them down quite a bit here. Let's go right to 50. There we go, right to 50. The whites, we're going to bring them up. Again, we don't want to go crazy. Let's go 21. Sounds good. Let me see. Blacks, we're going to bring them down. Again, we want to make this very contrasty. So let's go to 40, 38, right around there. Okay. All right. Now we are going to come on over to the tone curve. And we're just going to do let me see, one up here, one in the middle, and one, we're going to use this one down here. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to lift up the blacks a little bit. Again, we want to fade it just a little bit. Want to bring down the midtones, and then we want to raise up the highlights. Again, don't worry, it's going to change. Okay. Now we want to come on into the red, and we want to shift the shadows up to make them a little bit warmer. Not too much, just a little bit. And then we want to dip down the midtones. Again, not too much. And then we want to bump up the highlights a little bit and make them a little on the reddish warmer side. Now we're going to come on over to the green curve, and we're just going to do a very, very subtle S curve. Let me see if we can have medium contrast. No, that's not going to work. Yeah, I always like to try the preset ones to see how it works. But we're going to do an S curve here. So we want to bring, we want to lower the greens up a little bit. So let's bring them down. And then we want to raise the greens up in the highlights. Not too much, just a little bit there. Okay, again, you can see it's starting to take shape the way that preset looked. Now in the blue curve, we want to lower the shadows by adding some yellow. And then we want to raise up the highlights. Oh, no, wait a minute. Yeah, raise up the highlights to add a little more blue. And again, you can see it right about there. That's actually good right there. And then let's bring this down just a little bit. There, you can see how it's getting, how punchy it's getting. There's before, there's after, before and after. All right. Now we're going to go into color grading. And so we're going to start off with the shadows. And we want to bring up the hue. Where are we here? We want to make the hue around 230. So I'm just going to type these in. I actually have these written down here. Around 230. And then the saturation about 10 to 15 actually. So we're going to go, let's go about 12. Okay. And then let me see, we're going to go to the midtones. And on the midtones here for the hue, we're going to go all the way up to about 50, I think. There we go. And then the saturation, we'll do about 15 or so. And again, this is all to taste. All right. And then the highlights, we want the hue to be about 55. We'll do 50 actually. And then the saturation, we will make that around 10. Okay. And again, there's before and after, before and after, starting to take shape. Now, blending, we're going to actually go back here. So blending, I want to raise that up to about between 60 and 70. So right about 66, 65. And then the balance around minus 20, 25. You can go all the way up to 30, depending. Pretty much got that right there for your color grading. Okay, your color wheels. Now let's go into the HSL, or in this case, the color mixer, and make sure we're over on the mixture setting. So for the reds, we want the reds to be around a minus 10. And let me see, we want the orange to be around -5. Yellow is going to be a +10. Green -10. Actually, we can even shift that a little bit more. Maybe we'll go -15, actually. There we go. And aqua and blue, just minor adjustments. So let me see here. Or do we want to go more toward the blue? Yeah, we're going to go this way. Okay. Give it a little more of a teal look. Okay, we're not going to touch the purples or the magentas. Now we come on over into the saturation. The yellows, we're going to go -20. Green -10. And again, with the blues, actually with the orange, I forgot to do the orange. We're going to go +10 with the orange. Okay, kind of increase that up a little bit. And then the blue -10. Right about there. Or do we want to saturate it more? Yeah. See, again, I had it set for minus. But we want to, there we go. That's good. We're going to go -3 actually. Now for luminance. And again, we're not going to actually touch all the colors on this one. Orange, we're going to do a +10. Yellow, -10. Or just -11. And then green, -10. Oops. There we go. -11 is fine. For the red primary, we're going to take the hue down to a -10. We're just going to type this in. And then the saturation to a +10. The green primary, we are going to go +10. And the saturation of -10. And now the blue primary, -10. And saturation of +20. See how it's taking effect here. Now, another thing that's usually you'll find in Kodak 2383 print film is some grain. So let's go over here to the details tab. Is that where it is? Where did they put that? Oh, it's in the effects now. That's right. We are going to add around 20 to 30 on the grain. I'm not huge on the green, but we'll keep it closer to 20. And then the size, we're going to go about 20. And then the roughness, we're going to go all the way up to between 40 and 50. Right about there. And pretty much for this photo, this is before and after. Before and after. And you can see it's very punchy. And we could play around with the tones a little bit. Like this does have a little bit more magenta. So what I would probably do is come up to here. And I would add maybe, let me see if I add a little bit of green here. Oh, too much. Maybe a minus, maybe not. Because it does have a lot of teal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that saturation down a little bit. And we're going to punch the vibrance up. Actually, I brought that saturation down a little too much. There we go. All right, that's a little bit better. So now we got before and after. And so now, what did I do here? Hit undo. There we go. Now, what I would also do too maybe is, Again, I brought the exposure up kind of high on this photo. Again, it's because I wasn't sure where I was going to go. I would probably bring it down. And now you can see this is going to look a little bit more like the preset I showed you before. And blacks, let me see the blacks. Let me bring them up just a tiny bit. There we go. That's good. Whites. Right there. I think that's much better. And anyway, there you go. You have your Kodak 2323 print film. Again, it's very, very popular in video. I actually use it a lot when I'm recording my talking headshots for my YouTube videos. I do like the contrast that it gives. It kind of makes it look more, again, it looks more like a film. And again, I think Oppenheimer used bleach bypass, which, by the way, I am going to be doing a video showing you how to do bleach bypass, which is another tech. This is actually a technique and not an actual film stock used for in movies. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Until next time, take care, everyone.